First of all, like, comment, subscribe, enter the art contest, click the links in the description, or send me your art at the art that I can use for the channel at biancazombie602@gmail.com. Before we go into this, let me just say, I don't think we've gone too far that we can't we can't have some kind of redemption story. I don't think we have irreconcilable differences. Or if we do, maybe we can at least agree to part ways peacefully without, too much animosity, because we're all adults doing adulting things, right? What would Zach say about COMICSGATE now? How's this for a title? COMICSGATE channels have stopped growing amid the infighting and harassment. I kind of thought I was done with EVS and the COMICSGATE drama. I don't follow his Twitter. He doesn't follow mine. I can't watch I don't watch more than a few minutes of his live streams anymore. The whole COMICSGATE war campaign thing has kind of soured me on the whole experience of COMICSGATE. I think of how he's talking about his old friends, telling them to F off and F this and F you. It's pretty childish, especially when you consider that Edwin and Mike are taking the higher roads. When there are two people fighting and one side is using four-letter words and posting pictures of homosexual snuggles for over a year, hundreds of these photographs, of these memes. Those are the bad guys. Hey, bro, it's all in good fun. Toughen up, bro. Yeah, it's funny for a week. That's it. For a month, it's just kind of weird. For several months, it's pathological. There's something wrong with you. It's funny for a week. Yes, you can meme somebody for a week and it's cool. You don't like Tim Lim, Edwin, Doug TenNapel. I don't like Doug TenNapel. Don't let him hear this. He's the only one I really don't understand. I shouldn't say I don't like him. I don't understand his behavior. You don't like these guys. Mike Miller, Short Little Hobbit. Fine. You can meme them for a week. You want to put dildos in their mouth and threaten to snuggle them? Cool. That's cool a few times. But it's not cool for a month. It's freaking bizarre. I look at these memes, I think, oh, okay, it must be kids making it. And then you look at the people who are making the memes, and they're like 30 years old. They've got kids, a wife, a family. They're homeowners. They have kids. They have a regular 9-to-5 job. That's not normal. That's freaking bizarro behavior. And then you look at the guy who's kind of instigating it, and he's a world famous comic book artist. None of this makes sense. Anyway, I mean, my point is that when you look at these memes, go on YouTube. You can follow EVS and war campaign accounts, and look at the memes. There are hundreds of them. It's pretty weird. That's all I'm saying. It's pretty weird. So, like, who are the bad guys and who are the good guys? Go on Twitter and follow the memes, or go watch a couple of war campaign YouTube videos. Twitter's really the best because you can see these memes, and there's like 100 of these memes about Doug TenNapel, Mike Miller, Edwin Boyette, accusing them of doing drugs, which is that's defamation because that will get you fired from your job, and that hurts your standing reputation in the community. But then accusing them of being gay, which is kind of weird in two parts because it's current year, y'all. Calling someone a faggot is kind of weird because you're saying, well, is homosexuality acceptable or not? And even if you really hate the gays, fine. Hate whoever you want, that's fine. But you're kind of speaking a little bit for COMICSGATE when you're a huge part of COMICSGATE and you're endorsed by Ethan, and you're using gay as an insult. So is homosexuality something malicious, malevolent, evil? We should make fun of it. It's on the table. Christians, we can make fun of Christians. That's on the table. So that means we can make fun of Muslims and Jews too, right? That's all on the table because you're endorsing it. Anyway, I know a lot of you guys really love EVS, and I know that he has helped a lot of people in COMICSGATE. So that has kind of kept me from cutting loose. So I'm going to be very, very polite in my criticism. I won't go so far as to say the SJWs were right about EVS, because the SJWs are mostly sociopaths who, even though we're infighting, the SJWs are much, much worse. But, let me put it this way. If you could have an honest one-on-one with your boy Zach, ask him if months of harassment and gay struggle snuggle memes, is that acceptable? Especially when you consider that it's EVS's old friends. Would Zach say, yeah, this is totally normal, months of harassment? I don't know, Zach. Maybe he would. Maybe he would agree that months of harassment is perfectly natural. He doesn't watch this channel, so I have no way to ask him. And I don't think he'd get a... I think he would just duck the question because he's really closely tied to EVS to sell his books. And I don't mean that in the wrong way. I mean, that's fine. Your goal should be to sell the books, but you're just not going to get... I wouldn't even ask him the question. I wouldn't even ask people the question because I wouldn't put them in that position where they have to hurt their commercial interests to answer something honestly. So I would just... That's why, yeah, I would never... Anyway, I do remember him telling EVS to get off of Twitter. But, maybe I misunderstood him. Maybe Zach just meant that people in general should get off of Twitter, and he's definitely right about that. And maybe he didn't mean EVS specifically, though I kind of think he did. I guess if Zach started doing live streams, I could super chat it, but he doesn't do live streams, at least until the Mark Wade stuff is resolved, and I guess I wouldn't put him in that position anyway, even for $5. Who knows? I assume the harassment will continue for a while. Maybe I will get the opportunity to ask him. You can go on Twitter and follow EVS and War Campaign, and you'll see it all for yourself. EVS and I don't follow each other, but people retweet his posts, so we do interact. We are always polite and respectful. We're very mature towards each other. Well, I am. Sorry. Sometimes I wonder if the SJWs were right about him. That's one of the reasons I stopped listening to his show, because I didn't want to get ticked off of him. I didn't want to get emotionally invested, which is, this is all about comic books, right? It's hard to get emotionally invested, though people do. So I'm able to talk about COMICSGATE and the players without making it personal. That's probably a good reason not to do a live stream with him, because he would just start swearing and fuming, choking on righteous indignation and vocal fry. Or he would be so nice that I would kind of have to stop criticizing him because I'd feel like a dick. Or he could just have Adam on to spurg out about what I'm not exactly sure. The guy has a lot of strong feelings, I will say that. He seems to be a newcomer on the COMICSGATE scene. I mean, we've been around for years, and he seems to have popped out of the thin blue, but I'm sure he's legitimate and not just a grifter. He's got a big channel, but I don't know what he covers. I'm just joking, Adam. Relax, lighten up, have a Valium. EVS says I talk about him too much, but I have a handful of viewers. EVS talks about Mike, Edwin, Doug Tenaple, Sashi, Nurkish, Tim, and whoever else he's fighting with at the moment. But he is spreading his hatred to a huge audience. It's funny, when I dip into his live streams, I don't recognize the names of the people in the chat anymore. All the old guys are gone. All his old friends are gone, too. And the audience has turned over. It doesn't hurt his channel because clicks are clicks and super chats are super chats, but the whole thing is just kind of sad. And I am sure it won't hurt sales of Cyberfrog 2 and Rainbow Brute. They will do very well. Even with all the bad blood and customer turnover, the COMICSGATE audience is much larger than it was a year ago when the first books were launched. The big channels back then had 50,000 subs. Now they are double that. Even though most of the channels have stopped growing. Is it YouTube's fault, or is it the non-stop bickering? Just the absolute juvenile bitching at each other? I am just some wanker on the internet, as people constantly remind me in my comments, which I don't delete, and sometimes I will pin them. But I think the fighting has something to do with it. The very public, non-stop fighting. War Campaign and EVS devote hours to attacking their old friends. They aren't attacking Renfamous or Gail Simone, Al Ewing, Dan Slott, and the other idiots. EVS and War Campaign spend all their time attacking guys who were in COMICSGATE. Does that seem like maybe they are the SJWs? Just to put things in perspective, not even Renfamous has harassed anyone in COMICSGATE this incessantly. How is that we're doing to each other what the SJWs never could? I can't be the only one to think that this stuff is crazy. It's like if we don't have an outside force to do battle with, we just fight each other. All the SJWs had to do was leave us alone and we'd crawl up our own ass. In case you're wondering what caused this spurg out, someone I follow retweeted a tweet where EVS is telling his old friend Edwin to F this and F him. It's not even this tweet, it's just, you can go to his Twitter account and check out the old tweets. I didn't think he would be that immature. In fact, if he showed me the tweet, I would have said it was fake, but it's not. And a few days ago, he said something like he wished that GDA was with Stan Lee, which just means that he wishes GDA was dead. EVS is sort of a weird guy. One day he's trying to make peace, and the next time he's on a live stream, he just can't help himself from attacking people. It's like EVS is bipolar or something. That's a statement of opinion, not a fact. Don't sue me. His tweet, Edwin was elevated at my whim and I can bring him down. And the opposite is now true. It almost sounds like he is a parody account. And if it was one tweet, I would assume he was just being sarcastic. But his bizarre tweets are nonstop. And even if you're a hardcore EVS supporter, you have to think that this is weird behavior. You just can't let it go. Just move on. Go back to your pop culture stuff. And I don't mean that as a backhanded compliment or any kind of insult. You were and are very, very good at that kind of stuff. You're very good at most of the things you do on YouTube. Very entertaining. So it's kind of weird to me that you... I hate to use punching down, but I mean, it's kind of weird to me that you're wasting your time attacking your old friends like this. How does it benefit you? Doesn't it seem strange that a dozen people stabbed you in the back? Isn't it more likely that the problem is with you? None of this is beyond saving. Everyone likes a redemption story. Just stop attacking your old friends. That's it. Just allow everyone to go their own way. I mean, hey, in a perfect world, it would be awesome if you guys could have some semblance of coming to a table and say, oh, you know what? This got to my head. I just got a little crazy with the whole YouTube thing. I was just out of my mind. Let's just put it all behind us and we'll stop talking about each other. And when your books come out, we'll take a look at them. And when my books come out, you'll take a look at them, that kind of thing. We're not the bad guys here. We're all roughly on the same team. The Renfamouses and all those people are the bad guys. Mike and Edwin can't hurt you. They aren't your enemy. But this fighting is definitely hurting COMICSGATE. There is good drama, which is spats with Renfamous and Tim Doyle, that kind of thing, because they are clearly the bad guys and we're the good guys. Bad drama is when EVS fights with Mike, Edwin, Doug, Tim, Nurkish, Sashi, and whoever else, because COMICSGATE likes these people. So what you're doing is you're dividing COMICSGATE. Who are the good guys and the bad guys in this fight? It's not clear. So people just say, screw it, COMICSGATE has gone sour, I'm moving on to something else. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you done with COMICSGATE? Have you moved on? Are you team EVS? Are you team, I don't know, the other dozen, Mike, Edwin, and whoever else he's fighting with, War Campaign, and I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think. Like, comment, send me your art. I'd love to take a look at it, even if it is just stick figures. I promise I'll find a way to use it. All right, guys, I will see you next episode, or at least until December 10th.